Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Wednesday, November the 21st, 2018. My name is Doug Kay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. Our hypotheses are our trade plans. We do create multiple trade plans. We do not know what the market's going to do, so we have multiple scenarios put together based on who takes control. We wait for the market to open up, and then we execute the plan that best suits the market once one side shows their hand, and then we adjust our plans as the market progresses and the context changes. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the regular trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, your own risk metrics. Alrighty, so taking a look at yesterday, wide range, the RTH range was 39, the full session range was 65. It actually is a big range and a big value area, but it's a fairly decent Gaussian distribution, which is showing that we are in balance. Our hypo 1 yesterday was a open auction out of range, a move up towards the 70, 76, find sellers, take out the overnight low, and then move towards the target at 52.75 with a probe down to 26.42 basing, and then rotating back up and closing between 26.50 and 26.60. That was hypo 1. Hypo 2, which was equally weighted, was a push down, take out the overnight low, push into that 50.49 chop, push down to 42, and then base, and then rotate up into the 26.60 to 26.70, and then go up and fill the half gap, fail, and then chop between 26.70 and 26.50. And then hypo 3 was fail to take out the half gap, sellers take control early, move down into the 42, fail, and then push through to the 36, and then fail and push down to the 26 to the 20 area. So, we got a bit of a combination of both hypo 1 and hypo 2. I mean, hypo 1 had us going a little bit higher into this between these two zones, and then rolling over and pushing down, but not pushing as far as the 33. So hypo 1 actually really played out, okay, during the building of the IB. And then we kind of rolled over to hypo 2, and they just didn't, didn't have the ability to push through up into the half gap. And then we just basically just chopped in a very wide range with, again, I warned everybody that the rotations going in were likely to be larger than 9 points. If you look at where we ended up in terms of rotations, our average combined rotations was 11.25, and it was pretty balanced overall, even though we made a large distribution zone, the rotation. So I'm expecting that we're not likely to see as big a rotations today. I think things tightened up. It is the day before Thanksgiving. We're likely to make a move before the European cash close, and then likely go sideways on very light volume coming into the end of the session, due to the fact that a lot of people are going to take off early into the Thanksgiving weekend for the U.S. Taking a look at the news, we did have core durable goods came out. It was a miss. Durable goods orders was a miss. Continuing jobless claims was a miss. Initial jobless claims was a miss. and news came out. We were trading 63, and we're now down trading 60 with a push down through to the 58.75. We've got news at 10 o'clock, which could move the market, existing home sales and month over month. And then we've got Michigan 5-year inflation, consumer expectations. Is this today? Yeah. Weird that they're putting out Michigan numbers as early obviously due to the holiday. So we've got Michigan consumer sentiment and expectations, and then we got 10:30. We've got crude inventory with all its associates attached, and that's basically it until 1 o'clock. We've got the 10-year tips auction, and that's pretty much it. And again, going into a holiday where we're going to have the market closed tomorrow, and then the market is going to be open for a half day on the Friday, and most people are going to be taking Friday off. Taking a look at the macro to micro, I always start my day looking at a simple candlestick chart. I start with a monthly and work my way down in periodicity. And what I'm doing is this a simple exercise I do every single morning. I want to see where we are in terms of the trend. What is the context in each time frame? How strong is the trend? Do we have good slope and separation? It's price paralleling the 9. I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA. You can use other ones. These are the ones that I use. I don't trade off them. I'm just giving me an idea of where we are in the trend. And then I'm looking at where the market is challenging the trend with a break through the 9 or a possible trend change with a break through the 9 and the 20. We had 14 months of one-time framing up. February, we break the one-time framing. They fight the 9 EMA, but then they get the continuation. And for the next 5 months, we rally up. And then October, okay, we fail and we come down and we break below the 9 and the 20, but close back up inside. And so far in November, we've challenged above and below, and we're sitting right on top of the 20. And we need to hold the 2650 area to maintain the trend and get a possible continuation pattern into the end of the year. We are below the year open. The year open 26.75 and a quarter. So we are trading below. We are in a bear, I wouldn't call it bear market, but we're in a bear year right now. Going to the weekly, you can see that we're showing more weakness on the weekly. We have failed to get back above the 9 the last 2 weeks, and we're getting slope and separation to the downside. This looks like the start of a downward trend. If we can get back above the 27.58 area, then we could get a rally back up, and we've got a naked cross up here at the 28.32 area on the weekly. But the weekly is in a downward trend right now. On the daily, same thing. We had a really strong downtrend, and then we took it back a couple weeks ago, and now they failed again, and we're below the 9 and the 20. We're getting slope and separation. It's still early, but we are seeing weakness coming in on the daily. On the 4-hour, the intraday, you can see, it shows it better as a downward trend, good slope and separation. We've closed this technical gap right here, and we're coming up and we're testing the 9. Very important for the bulls to get us back up over the 26.66 area and get a run up towards the open of the week. I'm sorry, open of the month, which is up at the 27.06 area. But right now, the trend is down, and this could be a point of failure right here. And then just going to the 30-minute, you can see that we were in a downward trend, and overnight, we started this upward trend. They came down, challenged the 9 and the 20, and they bounced, and now we're back above the 9 and the 20. But we have some separation, but we have no slope. So this is a decision point. Just keep that in mind. And we're likely to see a balancing day today. So if we take a look at this in terms of our structure and our composites and micro composites, And again, just putting this in context, just do a quick narration. We, we have a yearly microcomposite VPOC that's up in the 2850 area. Very strong kurtosis around that balance. We rallied up. We put in a new all-time high. This all-time high, believe it or not, is unequalized. The actual all-time high is 2947, put in the Globex. We're at 2646.50, all-time high in the RTH. Generally, that will not stand. That will eventually go back up and adjust the high and take out that 2947. But we tried to hold value up here in the high 2800s, and then they gap down, they come down, and we take a trip all the way back down and see where they found value again was back down here, okay, just in this where this started to rally up. They accepted value higher, and then we gap up, take a trip all the way through the microcomposite value area to the value area high, put in a lower fractal high at 2817.50, try to hold value up here. We can't. We fall back, and what do? We come all the way back down, and then we start chopping around in this kurtosis area and in this balance area for the year, and then we gap down yesterday. And what did? I said, watch this 36 area. We're likely to come down here and test it, complete the move through value, and we either break, that was our key line in the sand, and push further down into the 2750, or we bounce and we pushed through just slightly, went down to 3175, and then we bounced. And now we're in this area below the gap and inside of yesterday's range. The overnight session is an inside session so far, and in this area that's pretty blunt, that has multiple undetermined fair value at the 64.65 area, the 2655 area, and the 2642. So the levels to pay attention to right now, we want to see that this 2649 holds and hold us in this upper distribution, and we need to go up and break above that 2668 and a quarter, 69 area, basically the range high, if we're expecting a move to come up here and close the gap. And I forgot to calculate this. Just let me do that. Our low rate here is 2681.50, and our high yesterday was 2670.75. So our half gap is 2676 and a quarter. So let's just adjust that. Taking a look at the overnight inventory is about 90% net long, but it really found some balance up here. We have a clear LVN down here between the 46 and 44. Our VPOC overnight is at 55. We pushed through to 67, so we pushed down to 32 and a quarter, held the range low from the prior session, and then we pushed up into 67 and we held the range high. So we're in a complete inside session right now with our inventory about 90% net long. So I am looking for a balancing day today, two-sided trading, and the key for today is if we hold outside of hold inside of the value, I'd be looking for an 80% destination trade, and they move through the value down here to test the value area low and close the gap. We're actually opening up with a gap above us, okay, and we're going to have a gap below us. It's not a range gap. It is a gap against the close. So I'm expecting this area between the 60 and the 40 to show a lot of chop. And again, it's probably going to be large rotations, probably going to be average rotations in around the 8 to 10 point range. I don't think it's going to be quite as big as the 11 we saw yesterday as the average, but I'm looking for a lot of moves inside of this value because it's such a large value area. Now, our overnight high is 67. Our overnight low is 32 and a quarter. So based on our 20 period daily ATR, which is running at 58.25, that's the full session 20 period average true range. Our upside daily ATR is up here at 26.90.50, and our downside daily ATR is 26.0875. So it's possible that we can break out of the range from yesterday and move up or move down without expanding our range. I'm using the 36th microcomposite yearly value area low as my key line in the sand below, and I'm using the 26.8150 as my key line in the sand above. And above that, I'm looking for a target up here in the 90 area to 95. And if we break below the key line in the sand, I'm looking for a move down towards testing the 26.0875 area, maybe even the 2600 if it happens. I think it's less likely. A lot of the desks are going to have their junior traders on today, and not likely going to instruct them to do much. But in this market with headline news, who knows? I mean, it's been absolutely wild ride for October and so far in November. So what am I looking for in terms of hypotheses? Again, Hypo 1 and Hypo 2, unfortunately, are going to be equally weighted because of the fact we're in this balance zone. So I don't know if they're going to make the move first to the upside or downside. But my Hypo 1 is an open auction in range or just in range inside of value or just outside of value. I'm looking for a push up to challenge this 26.67 to 26.70 area to take out the overnight high. I'm looking for them to possibly give us a false breakout, maybe even a gap close. But like yesterday, I'm looking between 70 and 76. I'm looking for sellers to step in, rotate us down. I'm using the value area high from yesterday as my over underline, and below that, I'm looking for a move down towards the overnight VPOC will be the initial target, and then a push through to the 44, taking out the naked VPOC, and then a trip through value and a gap close, and then I'm looking for them to base here and basically just chop us inside of the prior day range. That is Hypo 1. Hypo 2 is an open auction, just in range, just inside or just outside of value. I'm looking for responsive selling down into the 44 to 40 area. Then I'm looking for them to base and rotate us back up and basically just, again, have a balancing day inside of the prior day. That is Hypo 1 and Hypo 2. Hypo 3 is a take back day, an open test drive, come down, take out the overnight VPOC, and then somewhere between 50 and 44, I'm looking for buyers to step in early, rotate us up through the overnight high, take out the range high, and then push up and come up and fill the gap, the half gap, push up, and then break above inside of Monday's low, and push up and go up and come up here into the 90 to 96 area and close the gap. The naked closes up here at 26.9650 and sort of drift up into the session end on positive, good feeling, Thanksgiving trading. That is Hypo 3. Hypo 4 is a open auction in range, just inside or just outside of value. Failure to break out of the the range high, seller step in early, take a trip through value, coming down, closing the gap, chopping between the 40 and the 36, and then failing, pushing through, breaking below the low, and then pushing through and getting extension down into the 2620 area with possibly a late day probe down into the 2608, 2610 area, and then basing and rotating and closing at the lower end outside of value and closing somewhere here in the 36 and trying to hang on to the yearly value area low. Those are my four main hypotheses for ES. Going over to gold. Yesterday, we were looking for gold to basically balance around the 22, 23 area. We were saying if we could hold this 20 area, that we could get a push up through to the 33, 34. We couldn't get and hold above the value area here in the 26 area, 26, 27, and we basically still stuck in this area right here. My main hypothesis is still continuation of this leg up. The average rotation in gold on the larger time frame is between 38 and 43, and we're currently 32.9 and finding and accepting value higher, and we're looking for the continuation up into 35. Areas to pay attention to, of course, we're testing this 26, 27 area again. If we can break above that, I'm looking for this fractal high at 1230 to get broken and a push up into the 1233 to 35 area. If we can't break out and and hold above 27, then look for them to rotate back down to 22 and likely come down and test the 21. And I don't think another test down below the 1220 is going to hold, and I'd be looking for a bigger move down towards the 1217. I'm not expecting a big move in gold, just more balancing in this area with a slight upward skew is my main hypothesis. So that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. And happy Thanksgiving to all the U.S. Guests and members.